Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vulnerable Talk, episode 15. It is 1 year right now that we have been your guests. At the beginning, it was every Wednesday at 8:30. Then, after a break, it became every alternate Wednesday. Altogether, 100 people joined this show, spoke in this talk, stood up. Hats off to them. We are so thankful for anybody who had the courage to step into the safe space and allow themselves to mask off. Tonight, we have again 7 new speakers. This is the last round of 2020, one of the strangest years of our life. Many of us have faced really things that we never thought it could ever happen to us, losses, challenges, moment of facing our shadows, becoming vulnerable in front of people that we didn't think we could trust, and they didn't fail us. We made new friendship, old friendship bends, new people came, and congratulations, you survived. Right now, you can give yourself a big high five. Well done. Well done. Seriously. I know many of you must have gone through a lot. We heard really genuine, very interesting, vulnerable stories during these talks. And I just don't want to talk too much because we have a long night. But just to give you a little bit, the idea of having this space started with me and Özkan sharing really painful moments and vulnerable feelings. And we were wondering if anybody else would feel that way and if people needed a space to just share how they truly feel and never being judged. For someone who would just listen without questioning you or saying, oh, you felt that way too. Yes, I felt that way too. So, again, welcome to the 7 speakers who stood up again at this moment at the almost last rounds of 2020, right after winter solstice, when Saturn and Jupiter gave high five to each other after 20 years. Apparently, it's going to be a lot of new beginnings. It's going to be a lot of new energies. We have a lineup of the speakers that Özkan is going to share with us. Özkan, have I missed something?
You haven't missed anything. This is the 14th episode of Vulnerable Talks.
I had one episode extra in my head.
You have an extra in your head, but it's okay. And with tonight's lovely 7 new guest speakers, we are going to be a crowd of 100 beautiful souls who have dared to come up and speak from their personal stories, and we have a chance to share in a safe space and without being judged. I love this space, and obviously I'm not a fan of 2020. I think like the 99.99% of the human population on this planet, but this space has been a safe space and we felt together. We have listened to many vulnerable stories, people shared and we listened without judging. It was lovely, and I always felt good with each and every speaker, with all the souls so far. And I'm pretty sure tonight is going to be a special, unique episode as well. Sure. And as you said, we have surprises. This is a longer vulnerable talk session because we're going to be a bit try to end up with a high note, and we'll share some beautiful musicians will share their music and their lovely voices. We'll see. Let's see the surprises. This is at the end.
Yes. Okay, so try to stay with us for as long as you can. Obviously, there are going to be 7 speakers sharing their stories. Each one of them have more or less 3 minutes. We are not going to ring any bell, but we hope they don't speak for 30 minutes, just 3 minutes, okay? If you see me or Özkan jumping or trying to say something, understand that you've been speaking for past half an hour. I'm just kidding. Nobody has spoken that long. And then after that, of course, we have awesome people. I see familiar faces, friends. Thank you so much for being the guest with us. Please, when you hear the other people's story, try to use the chat box, connect with them if something resonates with you, if something you have felt that way, you can use the chat box to connect with the speakers and give them more of your support. And then after that, we have 10 minutes for the comment share. Anybody who would like to add anything, they can use that 10 minutes from the audience. If anybody wants an open microphone, you can use that 10 minutes as well. But I suggest let's keep the sharing short and start the night with a lot of surprises. We have a lineup of artists, all of them from Vulnerable Talks. They are going to come and perform. Okay, without taking much more of time, let's look into the questions.
I just shared the questions, dear. And on the chat box, you're going to see the 3 questions that we have shared with our guest speakers of this evening. And would you like to read the 3 questions?
Yeah, sure. We shared these questions with the speakers. Many of you are familiar with the process. These questions are going to be answered by the speakers. Number 1, what has been the most difficult, painful, problematic experience for you about 2020? Have you resolved, overcome it? If yes, how? Number 2, after all we have been through, how is your current mood? What is your biggest challenge at the moment? And number 3, how have you internalized the chaos that has disrupted the world? Can you share with us the shift on your future expectations, expectancy, and on perception about life? This question has been shared with the speakers. Of course, they don't need to really go through these questions one by one. They can just share their stories with us, and we are going to listen. If any of you would like to answer any of these questions, please go ahead and use the chat box. And just before, Özkan, would you like to say something about the survey?
I will. Yeah, I will just share the survey in between the speakers and throughout this session. It's just a 2-question survey. It's very simple. Just 10 seconds. You can fill it. It's that there is a. I'm going to share a link on SurveyMonkey. This we will do it now and then throughout the whole night. So to collect some ideas from you guys. Shall we just, do you want me to share the lineup and we start, or anything?
Yes, please.
So tonight we start with Gallery, and then Austin, then Burçin, then Mel, Özge, Ozan, and Mine. Let me just try to make it a full screen share. I hope everyone sees the lovely faces. Shall we continue with the first speaker? What do you say?
Yes, go ahead. This is a tradition that always the descriptions of girls Özkan reads and the description of boys I'll read. Özkan, I just remember that we didn't discuss this part of it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, Gallery, are you here with us? Can you just open your mic and say hi?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Perfect. Let me just read through quickly your description that you have written for yourself, and then we'll give the stage to you.
Thank you.
Singer, performer, songwriter, and music teacher. As an artist in exile, she shares her love for a free world through her lyrics and her voice. The stage is yours, Gallery.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. Nice to meet all of you. Hi. I just want to say thanks to Sheri to give me this opportunity to, first of all, meet all of you and know all of you. It's my pleasure. And then for me to have the space to talk about my feelings, especially I live in a foreign country. So for me, it's really, I appreciate a lot having the moment to be able to share without judgment. So thank you. I guess I'm gonna say thank you only. And I don't want to waste anybody's time, so I just go to the questions. The first question is about the most difficult experience for me this year's. I think the COVID situation was the most, the worst thing that happened, definitely, and it resonates differently in anybody's life. For me, just a quick history is that I'm a performer. I had to leave Iran around 12 years ago because it's not legal and there is no way for me to have any kind of activities as a singer, female singer in my country. So I had to go. I actually kind of was banished. I cannot go back because I had some activities. So for me, all of these years, I had a challenge. Beside the good things that I was performing and everything, I had the challenge of being away from my hometown, being away from my family and all of this. So this year for me was really difficult because I couldn't perform. I couldn't perform my music, which I left my family for. And actually, I had a big bankruptcy and I decided to come to Turkey around 1.5 years ago and start over, which pandemic happened. So for me, it was financially also really difficult, and it was just all a big mess for me, especially at the beginning, because I didn't speak Turkish. I still don't speak Turkish. So it was a bit difficult for me, missing my family, having the fear that my mom, my dad, because in Iran also is really difficult. They shouldn't get sick, and what if they get it, or what if I get it, or my friends or my family? All of this a little bit was too much for me to deal with, along with finding my way again to my path and stay in it. So all of these things was really difficult for me. I think this is the first question. So should I continue to the second question?
Yeah, you don't have to answer the questions one by one, but mind you are already over 3 minutes with the first question. But
my time is finished.
Yeah, but
your time is already finished. But if you want to wrap up, you will get more time at the end.
Please,
okay, maybe 1 minute.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. For me, the challenge right now, which I wanted to really share, is that to have a better vision, and it's like a dust of fear inside of me, which I'm gonna fight it, and it's my challenge to have a better vision for my future. Because actually, the positive things about all of that was for me to realize the value of maybe small things. So I don't want the fear of all those things make my vision dusty. So this is what I'm challenging right now. So I give the microphone to you. Thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Yeah, if you want to say something, you can we're going to have a 10 minutes chat at the end after all 7 speakers are through. You can just share some additional story of yours in the end, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Gelare, for being with us. Gelare is going to sing for us during the lineup. We're going to hear some of her beautiful songs, so please just stay with us and hear her voice. To the speakers, please share some of your social media, your Instagram account, your YouTube channel. I know some of you are artists. Please share it in the chat box for the rest of the people so they would get to know you more and follow you and give you some exposure.
Yeah, and to the audience, while you're listening, if some of the stories are really resonating with you, it really touches you, feel free to interact in the chat box as well. Okay. And as we say, please refresh your minds and hearts the seconds before each and every speaker. Now we go for the second guest for this evening. I'm just quickly sharing it.
I know who that person is. Austin. Hello, are you here?
I'm here.
Yes, very good. Let me read quickly what you've written and the microphone is yours. Transition coach and head of mentorship at Earth University, advancing humanity through authentic self-expression. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious now.
Thank you, Sheri and Özkan, for the opportunity to be here. And I think this is a great initiative too, especially through 2020. So what I'm doing, advancing humanity through authentic self-expression, actually, I'm helping the personal development fanatics who feel like they have this shiny object syndrome, chasing one thing after the other. And I help them become the person that they think they should be through strategies and prioritization. This year, I'm a very shiny person. I feel like I love to connect with people. I love to go out. I love to chase the shiny objects, right? This is one of my challenges that I've experienced throughout my life. And this year, it didn't have anything to do with COVID, but I was dating someone in Malaysia at the beginning of the year, and I started to notice that my shiny personality also had a shadow side, which wanted to be scuffed. It wanted to get dirty. And I don't mean like physically dirty. I mean like drinking, smoking, doing drugs, staying out all night. You know, this shiny personality that I tried to put on, this mask, also wanted to be negated and dragged down by these tendencies, these patterns that I don't even know where they came from. So the real challenge this year for me was to come to terms and to look at myself and say, hey, there are some patterns that I have that are really harming me. And I had to come to terms with those this year. It was really uncomfortable. It was a big ego hit, if anything. And yeah, that was the most, I think, challenging situation for 2020. And in the main challenge for me right now is to kind of figure out if I'm going to stay in Istanbul. Honestly, I have my residence application in process, and I keep feeling these. Yeah, thank you, Isha. I keep feeling these pulls toward the U.S. where I'm from to go back there, and I can't decide if I should go back there right now. That's the main challenge for me. I feel ungrounded. I feel like this isn't quite my home, but I don't really have a home. However, in the future, I think the way the world is shifting is paradoxically toward a bigger vision. People will have to feel like they're a part of a bigger vision of something that's bigger than themselves. And at the same time, they're going to have to dive into themselves and find out what makes them the most happy. So that's how I think this whole pandemic and all of 2020 is going to shift toward the future. I think people are going to take themselves more seriously and their own personal satisfaction and finding how they can fit into a bigger vision. That's all I have, guys. Again, thank you for this opportunity. I would love to connect with all of you. I'll pop this up here. I'm in the process of writing a book, and if you resonate, I would love to chat with you. Thanks again, guys.
Austin, thank you. Please share all your links, website and social media. Thank you for the really, really vulnerable sharing. I mean, we have been hit. All of us have been hit with our giant, huge egos, I think, throughout this year. This was, yeah, this was the journey. Thank you, Austin. Thank you.
Thank you. It was quite a powerful sharing and quite powerful understanding and awareness to actually see the shadow, because a lot of people, they live their shadow side without being aware of it. So I want to say congratulations for having this awareness of looking at it. There's a question in the chat box for you if you want to look at it and answer it later. Got a question. But then This is Austin was the second person who mentioned the word vision, and I want to say to Özkan
Yeah.
that this is quite something. I feel the vibration of the night already is forming and the tune is already setting. How do you feel, Özkan?
It is always like that. Each and every night has its own frequency and vibration, and people without, yeah, firstly, all of the people in the audience should know that these seven lovely, beautiful souls are guest speakers for this evening. They're just meeting themselves right now at this very moment. So they don't know each other, but most of the time there is like a harmony in between the seven guests. I think it's just our minds and hearts are connecting. That's what I think and believe.
That's that's very true. That's very true. Okay, let's move in.
Yeah, please, everyone in the audience, refresh your minds and hearts. We are going to meet a new soul. I'm going to quickly share the screen one more time for our third guest. She's our lovely Burçin, all the way from Vienna. And are you with us, Burçin?
Yes, I am.
Let me just quickly read what you have written. Believes in intention, dreams of serving the greater good, thinks a lot about classicism, works as a financial forensic consultant. The stage is yours, Burçin.
Okay, thank you for having me. To begin with, I was lucky enough that I didn't lose any loved ones during that time. I didn't face huge financial losses because I was unemployed already to begin with, so I started rock bottom this year. I only found a job around October, so yeah. So during that time, I obviously had a lot of time to think, and I realized that I have a lot of prejudice against myself. And that was shocking to me because it's also ironic a bit because I specialize in gender and diversity management. I know what prejudice means on an academic level, on a social level. I am the person around my environment who says, go for it, just do it, don't think what your environment says or thinks about you. And then when it comes to myself, I'm so harsh. I always have to check all the boxes. And if I do a certain thing, I shouldn't be doing it perhaps in order to fit in. I don't even know where I'm trying to fit in because I'm the one saying you don't have to fit in anywhere. So yeah, that actually ties in perfectly with what Austin said in terms of shadow. So that I was like, this is me being like that. I never knew that I was like that. And yeah, that's a challenge I'm trying to overcome right now. It was painful to see that, but it's part of a healing process to realize it. I'm working on it. I haven't mastered it yet. I'll still need some time. But yeah, it gives me hope that things are going to be better in future. And in terms of mood or how I feel, it's a balance or imbalance between hopeful and anxious. Um, I'm like, yeah, whatever. What other choice do you have other than being hopeful? Because life is too short to dwell on the bad things, but it's then long enough to start doing good things. So I started my own small, kind of non-profit helping project. I haven't fully realized it yet, but I started it finally because, first of all, I had the financial means to do it. And second of all, I realized that through helping or just through being there for somebody else, you actually also heal yourself. And that's maybe in a selfish point of view, but I'm like, what if that works? If you help somebody else, then why not also help yourself by helping somebody else? So I don't really see a problem with that. Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm over. Am I over my time? Do I still have time? I tried to not perform. I tried to not rehearse it because I wanted to be as vulnerable as I could. So this is me being very vulnerable. And then I thought about the word vulnerable itself, and I think you are the most actually vulnerable when you dance because you don't. I mean, unless you're rehearsing. But if you're on a party, in a party, you're just dancing, you're having fun. You're so vulnerable, and yeah, So I think that's it for me. The stage is Mel's, I think. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you. We will.
Thank you so much. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. It was really beautiful. So powerful. So powerful.
Yeah. Believe it or not, maybe we can fulfill your dream. Maybe we can dance in the upcoming hour or so. Maybe we will have performances and we have surprises tonight.
Yes. So stay with us, Burçin. You might get a chance to be more vulnerable.
If you want to share
We have
about yourself and your social project or whatever, you just feel free. Thank you.
Yes, please share your project so we can also get to know more about it and give you support. Before we get into the next talk, many of the guests of Vulnerable Talks, many of the people who are present here, Özkan and I, and also some of the guest speakers, we are part of a bigger community called Love Mafia. And if you all wondering what is Love Mafia all about, we are going to share the platform with you. It's a community of like-minded people who are trying to think out of the box and create a better future for themselves and for everyone. Okay.
We are always grateful to our lovely tribe, Love Mafia, and they have been really guests and supported us in this move with these vulnerable talks. Maybe I might also share these 100 faces when this show is over, when this line of speakers are over. But they have been with us and supported us, and we are going to share the website of Love Mafia. Please interact with us over there as well. Lovely people, witches and wizards, all kinds of crazy but truly genuine people. Let's continue. And once again, I ask everyone in the audience, please refresh your minds and hearts, because a very special, talented soul from Beirut. He has also lived in Istanbul for quite some time. Mel, are you here with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey guys, thank you.
Hi. Let me just quickly read.
Oh, you find a quiet spot, yeah?
I'm sorry. It's your turn, Sheri.
Okay, how should I pronounce your name? First tell me.
Well,
Mel?
well, the 7 is the actual Arabic letter for ha. So I don't know how you say it. It's Melhem actually.
Melhem. Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yes. I got it right now.
All right.
Okay, great. Very creative. Okay, let me just read quickly and then microphone is yours. Music producer, composer, live artist, DJ. Civil engineer and founder of Beirut Small Hands, aiding the affected elderly in Lebanon recover after Beirut blast. God bless you. Microphone is yours.
Okay, thank you guys for having me first. Honestly, I haven't prepared anything, but I'm just gonna jump straight to what I have had experience this year. Well, I've experienced a divorce beginning of the year. So I lost the woman I really love, and it's been a crazy year. So I moved from Sydney to Istanbul, back to Beirut, and then my family and I lost all the money in the banks because of what happened in the Lebanese economical crisis. So we lost all our money. The government stole it, and then the Beirut blast happened in August, and I was just basically less than a kilometer away from the explosion, and I was lucky to actually go in a different direction. For that, I had a really rough year, and I honestly have no idea how I'm still surviving. So I tried to turn all the negativity into positivity by starting this non-profit organization, Beirut Small Hands, to help, people around me. It's kind of like therapy for me, and I feel like it's helping me a bit overcome all my I would say like my stressful life and my trauma. My biggest fear is that I don't know if I can. I don't know, it's a safe spot in here, so I would just open my heart and just I don't know if I can trust again, and like commitment wise and how I see life now from another perspective, like to to be in a relationship all over again, trust and love, and probably get married again. I have no idea. This is one of my biggest fears. I also have no idea what's going on with my music business, because worldwide the music got really affected, the music industry. And right now I'm just confused because my heart belongs to Istanbul. That's where I really love to live. I lived there for 3 years, and I got famous actually from living in Istanbul. Right now I'm in Beirut, but I really don't feel like I'm home, especially after the Beirut blast. The whole city is depressing, a lot of misery. I lost two of my relatives in the explosion. So, I mean, I'm smiling, but I mean deep down I'm not. But I'm trying to just be positive as much as I can, and start healing myself on my own. So this is the first time I open up that much. I mean, no one knows about my divorce and all that stuff, but I felt like I just want to, put it out there. So
You're
yeah,
brave. You're a hero.
thank you.
That was it was beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful sharing I've heard.
I
Thank you.
think we need a
Some
moment
a
of
moment of yeah,
silence.
a moment of silence for all the people who lost their life in 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being with us and
Stay
sharing.
with us and listen to Melham music from Beirut. He's going to share some of his original Oriental electronic tunes with us at the end of this show, and hopefully help some of you to shake some booties and be more vulnerable. Okay?
Yeah, yeah, we're going to actually, interestingly, start with gallery and end with Melham, I think. This is,
Yes.
as far as
Yes,
I
yes.
remember, the lineup. Tonight's
Yeah,
guest.
we are going to share the lineup with you soon. I can see all the artists are slowly joining in, and this gathering is looking more and more colorful.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you, Melham, and
Thank you guys for
our
listening. Thank you.
our hearts are with you personally. And I've been twice to Beirut, and I really, as I told you, I have really a genuine passion for the Beirut people. I love them, and they loved me back. They are really warm people over there, and I'm sorry for the ones lost in the blast. And also, this pandemic is another story, and also this huge economic crisis. I mean,
It's been a crazy year. Yeah.
crazy.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mel.
But I believe you guys have the soul made out of iron. You survived through history, and you will survive these challenges as well. Our heart is with you, our soul is with you. Stay strong.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I pray that trust will flourish one more time, for sure.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope so. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to refresh ourselves for sure.
Mm-hmm. Of course, if you feel like there is something else you would like to share with us at the end of the talk, you will have more time. Okay, Özkan, would you like to share the flow?
And now,
The next
for
person is
tonight,
beautiful Özge.
yeah, our beautiful Özge, all the way from New York, and she is with us. Thank you for being with us, Özge. Your mic is on.
Unmute yourself. Okay.
Yeah, hi. Let me just
Hi.
quickly read your line, and then I will leave the stage to you. Özge, social personality psychologist, helps people and organizations as a motivation researcher, well-being worker, change advisor, and joyful dreamer. You have your stage. Thank you.
Thank you. So I came to New York 4 years ago as a researcher, as a fellow, but 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, I decided to immigrate here to be a lawful resident here. And this is how things turned down for me. It was going well until pandemic, but coming as a fellow versus being an immigrant is very different. My practice as a psychologist, my projects, my therapy sessions, they were all online due to my international experience. However, once I decided to be a licensed psychologist in New York State, then here comes the trouble because I have to work under someone as a trainee psychologist. However, with my background and with my experience, I was either overqualified for entry-level positions or overqualified for entry-level positions or underqualified for senior positions that I might actually get if I were a licensed psychologist here. So I tried to study, work towards the license exam. However, with the pandemic, they canceled the exams. So I was stuck on my way, and they decided not to. And by the way, the exam committee is never accepting online practice as a real practice. So all they were asking for a real in-person training hours, practice hours. However, I was so desperate. I was so lost of what am I going to do? How am I going to be a psychologist again? That was a loss of my professional role. In a second, I was nothing. I lost all my education, all my certifications, all my credits, everything. And then with the pandemic, all those people who are doing their practice on site, face to face, has to switch to online. And that was kind of a calling to me. Then I started teaching them how to do this online. I remember I kind of turned back to my childhood, how I learned how to walk. I tried to remember how I learned how to ice skate, do skiing. So the first thing that the teachers teaching us in ice skating was how to fall. So it was not how to skate or how to ski, how to fall. Start with how to fall. I remembered those moments and I decided to fall. To step back, cut down my resume, behave like I'm just a new starter. I know that I have already a calling, but I was looking for a job desperately just to get licensed. Meanwhile, holding to my, I split my personally into two. One is novice, knows nothing, just needs a job, an entry-level job so that someone can supervise me. And on the other hand, I wasn't able to see any clients because I wasn't licensed. However, I started teaching and coaching those who can see their patients because they didn't know how to do this online, but I knew that. So I had like a day personality and a night personality who does different things with different populations. So I again fell down to be able to rise up. I know I'm not still there yet, but I know I exist. I insist, and I will persist for that until I will get what I need and what I was. So for me, hope is not only an emotion, it's an action. I need to take action. It's the verb. It is something that I do towards to be hopeful. And throughout this process, what I learned from my Zoom sessions is to unmute yourself. I need to speak up. I need to open myself. I need to voice up and unmute myself so that I can set my boundaries and I can say, yes, I exist and I insist on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There was a lot of good lessons in this talk. I'm writing notes.
We're learning. It's true. I mean,
Amazing. Learning how to fall. That's how we grow. This is so true. Thank you so much, Özge, for sharing your experience. Almost a lot of people in this community who have ever lived like a migrant, somebody who's been out of their own comfort zone, they sympathize with the situation that you have lived. But that was a good lesson to voice up and to speak your truth. And there is always someone who would like to listen what you say. Thank you.
For sure.
I heard what you said. I just remembered the survey. Please, please participate in a very, very short 2-question survey. Which one of them is a yes or no question.
Yeah.
It is for us to know how you felt about this space which belongs to you, and we just moderated it for you. And also let us know if you would like to have vulnerable talks, if you would like to have this space in the 2021, since we are going to create a new vision for our future, whatsoever it is. Hopefully it's a good one.
I'm just going to share it quickly.
Özkan will share it in the chat box time and again for new people who would join.
Yeah.
Take a few moments to participate, and we will appreciate that.
It's just 2 questions and 2 seconds, really. But thank you for participating in the survey. Thank you, Özge. And I've also written some notes on the chat box while you were speaking up. Yeah, please unmute yourself, and we should listen to you more. And hoping is an action. I love that as well. I mean, we have lost hope throughout this year, but we have to actually do something. And throughout all vulnerable talk sessions, it boiled down to actually creativity and production. So it's action, action, action. We have to do something to increase our level of hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. I just shared the, please, Özge, share your, and all the guest speakers, you can share your social media and websites and everything. I just shared the SurveyMonkey link, and let's continue to our next guest speaker by refreshing ourselves. Are we ready for that? Yeah.
Yes.
Then we move to London.
Yes. Ozan. Did I say it correctly?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay. Let me read quickly what you've written. Author on human behavior and co-founder of multiple companies in learning, media, and tech. Lifelong learner and idealist. Thank you so much for being with us. Microphone is yours.
Thank you. It's so. First of all, of all the stories that I've heard so far by the other speakers, the amount of resemblance and parallels that I can draw from my life and my experience over the last few years is so much. It has completely destabilized what I had to say, because I feel such emotional connection with everything shared. So I was ready for what I had to say. I don't know if I'm ready now. I have taken a few notes because I do like to think about these concepts. Yes, there's a business side to what I do, but there's also a almost a philosophical side, because I've studied psychology and sociology, and these departments usually hated each other. And being at the intersection of those, I usually had to find my own way of understanding the world, and I've relied on that ever since. So based on that, there are a few notes I've taken, and I'd like to, go over those, or what I have been thinking, what I've been challenged with. So like the first key thing that I need to share and be really vulnerable and open about is that I'm building a company in London, in a country and in a city that I don't fully understand yet. So a lot of my resource goes to understanding that, understanding the culture, and understanding what it takes to be successful here. And it's definitely quite difficult. It is the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. And I've done a few hard things. So that's first part of it. I have learned a new word, which is called, last week, this word is called synopsism. And I think it is the idea that all there is to know is within oneself. There's also a Mevlana and Rumi perspective to that as well. And I think the idea of synopsism is quite relevant these days because like there is a sameness to what we do. Although this is quite a unique meeting for me, it's one of the most unique meetings over the last perhaps 10 months. It is still a Zoom call. I'm still in the same room, still looking at the same wall, sitting on the same chair, having the same feeling. So there is a feeling of sameness. And I think that sameness creates that synopsism of looking within. And sometimes we look within a bit too much. I don't know. So that's one of the first things. The second one that came with that synopsism for me is really thinking about the idea of death and trying to understand the passage of time, because I realize I feel a certain anxiety as I age. I'm 35 now, I know, because I've thought about this before, time relatively passes on more quickly as you age. So like your experience and what your mind saves from 25 to 30 is more than it saves from 40 to 45. So there's kind of that relativistic aspect to that. And because of that, I feel time is speeding up more as I age. And that creates this anxiety of, have I reached my goals? What like, it's just a rope that I sometimes feel as if it might slip. And the other thing with time is it passes on more quickly as you rush. So if you take your time, if you're relaxed, and if you act more slowly, time slows down. If you act in a more rushed way, time speeds up itself. So there's kind of like a dilemma there. And moving on from there, I think like I'm playing a game now, and in the game there is a section where there are tarot cards. I'm not a believer personally in astrology, tarot cards, and so on. I'm quite skeptical in that regard, but I see them because they have survived through time. I see them as manifestations of what humans have collectively found valuable. So there's like this underlying thread of meaning and value hidden within those. And like the first tarot card, I think, is the Fool. And the Fool is an interesting character because we are all fools in a way. And I realized in what ways I myself am a fool, because although there is all this literature, all this world to know and understand, we still make the same mistake of being a victim to our ego and having these preconceived goals about life, and like reality is not the same with that. So there comes a taking step into a world of unknowns, and that brings in some new areas of change, and we are not aware of what that change will be. And perhaps the final word, for all the misery this pandemic has brought in, I'm a big believer of the silver linings it has actually created as well. And that I think is, it has nudged us, like as a collective society in the world, has nudged everyone to take one step, however small, to better face the existential anxieties and existential awareness. And I think that increases the probability of living a life well examined and purposeful. And although this change is perhaps small at an individual level, at a collective level, I think it's significant. And I think a big part of that is we need new and audacious dreams, and like that's my takeaway for 2021. I need more audacious and big goals, even though I might fail at them. Still having those big goals, meaningful goals, and goals that are not always about myself and my success, but actually about creating value for other people, helping other people, perhaps investing back into Turkey and being as strong to actually achieve that is my biggest goal. Sorry for taking more time than my slot, but there was no way I could have done all that in 3 minutes. So thank you for your patience. So that's it.
So sorry we don't have more time to give you. I could listen to you for hours and hours.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, I haven't really checked the time, but the time has really expanded a bit. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna listen one more time to the recording of what you have shared, and I tried to catch the keywords that really had struck on me. Thank you for your deep
Thank you.
thinking. Thank you.
Powerful and deep thought, seriously. And one more thing I wanted to mention before we move to the next speakers. Many of the speakers tonight, they have mentioned the value of helping others, either as a goal for a higher purpose or as a way to heal, as a way to salvate their own pain and their own suffering. And I think this is beautiful because this was another gift of 2020 for all of us, that brought us back together and showed us how much as human beings we actually need integrity and need to get connect to each other and hold each other hands, especially at the time of conflict or at the time of challenge, to know that someone else felt that way, or to just share how we felt and get some support. It has made us feel way better and restore our hope in so many ways. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, it has been like an awakening year for also a journey towards oneself and also towards others. We are more aware of it's truly a manifestation year for, I mean, as Ozan said, either little or big, doesn't matter. Everyone is just taking a step forward, inward, outward. Okay.
So I believe we have reached to the last speaker. Am I right?
Yeah, we are our final guest speaker for this evening. And I'm just going to quickly share the screen one more time. Thanking Ozan. And now we're inviting our lovely Mina to stage. Mina, you're with us, I think?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi there. Let me just quickly go through your words. Mina, culture curator, workplace transformation consultant, remote work enthusiast, freelancing 101 trainer, and happiness coach. The stage is yours, lovely.
Thank you. So before I start my speech, I would like to thank Özkan and Sheri for inviting me to this Vulnerable Talks special edition with the 100 guests. And I think this is really like a great way to close this year. This was, I think, has been a special year, though we had losses and we had so many unfortunate events. But I think it also made us come closer. And as many of us have been expressing, we are now entering an age of collaboration, I would say, and like helping each other to come through the challenges we face. So for me, the biggest challenge was learning to intentionally stop, or I would say slowing down. So because like for a person like myself, who never stops talking, who never stops doing something, or like starting a new business, or like working, I mean, I'm in action all the time, and it was really challenging for me to learn how to slow down. But I really enjoyed it. So I mean, at the end, I figured out that it was really what I needed, actually. And by the way, I remembered that that's what I wished for at the beginning of this year. So I was like, even last summer, I was like telling myself, next summer, I mean, I prayed for this. I literally prayed for this. I wanted a summer that I would spend with my kids, not doing anything like intentionally, or like rushing anything, or like trying to catch up with things, or like catching up with my emails, or like with my messages. I kind of like intentionally asked for this, and like the pandemic, and this was like a gift from the universe that I asked for. And so during the summertime, when the cases, the COVID cases were lower, we decided to take a vacation with the kids. And of course, I took my laptop with me because that's something I always carry with me. And like I took it from its case when we were at the hotel. And on the way back, on our last day, as I was packing, I took my laptop, and as I was going to put it in the case, I realized that it was covered with dust. And, you know, it has not happened for the last 10 years, I would say. So for the last 15 days, I did not put my hand on my laptop because I enjoyed time with my kids building castles from sand and taking walks in the morning, waking up early and meditating and taking my time, not rushing anything, not needing to complete projects or like get things done. So I was like taking my time. I was enjoying my time. I was just like going with the time and not like going against the current. And I was not chasing for new projects to get done, or like I was not looking for other new businesses, but I was just like waiting for them to come. Because for me, because I'm a workplace transformation consultant, and this was my time because everyone was like going after me because they were asking my ideas, they were asking for my consultancy about remote work and everything. So that was my time, but I just like stopped. I waited for them to come to me, not to chase for the new work. And you know what happened? I mean, it really worked. I mean, taking time and intentionally stopping really worked, because at the end, what happened was, it was kind of like, I was like exploiting myself, rushing from one thing to the other. That's what I realized. So I was like overusing myself. So when I stopped, it was like the soil, like, you know, the farmers keep the soil like for a year and then they plant it again. So it was like I was thriving after stopping. So things became even in a better way. So the projects that came afterwards, they were the ones that I really enjoyed and that I really wanted to work with. So I really, really understood the value of stopping, of keeping everything at its own pace and not rushing, because the time is really valuable and we're here to live that time preciously. And I think that my biggest challenge became the best thing that happened in my life.
Thank you. The value of stopping. Thank you, Mina.
Thank you.
And I think,
you know, this was, by the way, really challenging. You know, I mean, you know me.
Yeah.
This was really
yeah.
challenging to confess even.
To everyone who is in the crowd, like we know each other for maybe 3 decades when we were really young kids. And Mina, anytime I speak to her, she has like at least a dozen of projects which is up and running, going there, doing this, and also at the same time growing 2 young kids, being a mother, working, putting them to sleep, then go back to work. I know you're rushing, and the stopping, I think, was really, it was hard for you, I believe, but I think it worked.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you for your share. Thank you, Mina.
Thank you so much. That what you said was actually true. When you stop chasing things that truly resonate with you, actually comes to you. That's really true. And anybody and everybody in the community who have ever worked with frequencies, they believe in that. That sometimes we are actually chasing things that we have been told or we believe that it's good for us. But sometimes to give a pause and actually look back at all those values and all those things that we've been told it's good, is sometimes it's good, because you get into this revaluation and reassessments, and then you realize that many of those things are actually not necessary. Thank you so much for this great lesson. I find myself writing a lot of notes. Tonight talk is like a proper workshop. I think we should should not put this for free on YouTube, Özkan.
If you read the text as a document for tonight's sharings, it's really invaluable stuff that's been shared. Thank you to all the 7 speakers.
Definitely.
Now that we're 100, do I have a permission to share the 100 faces after?
Yes, of course. I mean, I still want to give some time to our 7 speakers who have, if they have anything to add, it's their time. But Before that, since we are all excited, let's look at this massive poster that it took Özkan maybe 4 days to design. Actually, I'm really very thankful, first of all, to Azra for the initiation of this whole concept of vulnerable talk, and of course Özkan, who has put his mind and soul into the whole design. And there we are, all hundreds of us.
Yeah.
Some of you are here tonight. Those who are not here, our heart is with them. Go find yourself.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a ride, 2020, but I think it's vulnerable talks have been one of the best things I have done and we have done throughout this year.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's
If I
so
can
true.
manage, it doesn't let the picture is stuck and it doesn't let me. Okay. If people want to talk, let me just escape button
Okay.
doesn't work. This is the technology. Okay.
No problem. Okay, so I mean, but by the time this shared screen is going to go away, I think this photo likes to stay with us for a little bit longer. I'm going to invite all our 7 speakers to unmute their microphone, and if any of them would like to share something, please go ahead.
I would actually, I kind of forgot that. So let me just add it. When you asked how we or I internalized the chaos, I thought about the German word, which is called Weltschmerz for any German speakers, if there are any German speakers. Literal translation means world pain. And it just explains so many feelings that I felt. I felt like the world was really in pain, and for everybody who's was very sensitive or has a lot of strong feelings in terms of empathy, I think that word just explains so much. And it's not only the world pain you feel about your close environment, but also when you listen to the news or see somebody on the street who just looks unhappy. I feel like this time, the corona time, basically made everybody feel, or this is my impression at least, feel more sensitive towards people that are actually unhappy, because for the first time, I think everybody was unhappy at the same time, maybe due to different reasons. Maybe the magnitude of it was different, but we were at times all unhappy, and that's not a nice thing, of course, but it makes you realize how grateful one can actually be for the things that you have. And we all hear things about being grateful and that you should count your blessings. I mean, that's all true, but I had my first feeling of truly feeling grateful a couple of weeks ago. Lay down in bed, and I was happy that I had a job and a place to sleep. And that it sounds so trivial, but I really felt it so deep, and that was the first time when I understood what people meant by feeling of gratefulness. And before that, it was just words to me. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
What was this word in German? Can you repeat the word in German as well?
Weltschmerz. Welt as in world, and Schmerz as in pain.
I'm trying to write if I'm not.
Just write it down.
I just wrote Weltschmerz is like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your sharing, Putin.
Sure.
Can I add something to what Putin said?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Putin, I'm so moved by that new German word that I just learned. And I realized how, like, listening all of you and what everyone wrote to the chat, I realized, like, once again, I realized that how we are unique in our pains, and still that we share a common humanity in terms of experiencing a sort of pain. So yeah, we are unique and we are still together in terms of Weltschmerz. Is it correct?
Weltschmerz.
That word.
Something I'd like to jump in and add, if possible. And I have taken note of it. It's from Burçin's first 3 minutes bit. It's the idea that I think you're working on something very, like the core theme is, you do not have to fit in all the time, so you can be an outlier and so on. I think that is true. And something we sometimes make the mistake of, I've certainly made that mistake, is think we do not need to be an us sometimes so we can exist as an I. And that simply is not the case. Like, it is just like water and food, and we depend on it because we've lived for such a long period of time within these bodies with these neurotransmitters and with these chemicals, and like they are just wired for the state of us, like existing in groups. So it is not something, I don't think we can overpower, and this particular situation has made all of us feel more eyes throughout the day, throughout the months and years. Hopefully not many years, just one. But I think that's something to be aware of, and like feeling like us, even when you're waiting at a bus stop, even when you're having coffee outside, at a concert and so on. So these are all the situations, and I think we depend on that. We really want that. We really need that. And sometimes music is the best way to actually create that connection. So perhaps there's a good segue for Özkan there.
That's so true. I think during 2020, we got a chance to redefine the value for integrity and for connectedness. Whereas before that, many of us, we went on and on with the whole concept of individuality and being me, and the world centers around me and all the values which serves to me. And then 2020 just popped in, and kind of it was an anti-establishment to the whole construction of I, when we all been left with nothing but I, and we realized it is so insufficient to survive. That's
And
so true.
I think being online also made that possible, because like everyone thought that, because like being online, just like the borders went down. So I mean, everyone has like in a more connected way of connecting with each other, because most of the people did not know about each other or like what they were doing. So they realized that there were other people across the globe that were doing the same thing, thinking alike, doing same thing, sharing same beliefs, but like because they were in their own ecosystems, in their own locations, doing like on-site events or like having these talks within their communities. But having these online events made it possible to give visibility to those people and like across the globe. So it was not like bounded with their own communities, but they were like across communities and just like talking to different groups of people. And so they had like this idea that we are not alone. So because sometimes people thought that they were unique in what they were doing, but then this was like a manifestation of the collaborative thinking.
Yeah, this is the concept of finding more about what makes you happy, not as in I'm so special, but as in this is where I shine the most, and then pair that with the bigger vision. Now we have the global, a global melting pot almost. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't have to try to be myself to stand out from the crowd. It's more of, instead of trying to be myself, it's just embodying who I am, and I actually fit into a bigger vision, and there is a space for me to land and to be more resourceful and to be more productive, if you want to think of it that way, and to be more happy. So I think this whole concept is really wonderful. And Burçin, bringing back to the gratitude thing, I was just thinking about this today, how I'm the most grateful for the things that are the smallest and the simplest, like fresh air, or my legs to walk, or coffee for that matter, because they're the things that have been with me through thick and thin, no matter if I'm single, if I'm sober or drunk, whatever, if I'm feeling awesome or if I'm feeling super low. It's the most basic, simple things that have never wavered. So that was my point on gratitude. Again, I'm happy to be here, guys. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you.
Do we have more sharing? Gallery, would you like to add something?
Not much. I'm just really enjoying, and I agree like 99% of everything that is happening here. It's the same for me. It's the same experience, and I'm just happy to know all of you. I'm a little bit new, so I just like to inhale more. So thank you.
Great. Thanks for agreeing. Okay. Pretty colorful. Malham, would you like to add anything?
Actually, I just loved listening to everyone's story. It makes us all feel like we're all going through a rough time, so it makes it easier for us. I don't feel as lonely as I was before. You know, like meeting everyone now and hearing stories just makes it all connected and on a different, I think, like a different platform, on a different wave. So I'm glad you guys did. This is awesome, honestly, and thank you for inviting me. Really.
Thank you so much for being with us. One more time, I want to invite all the people who have just joined us to take a few moments to answer those 2 questions on the survey and the link that Özkan has just shared on the chat box, to just let us know how you feel about this space that belongs to you, and if you would like the Vulnerable Talks to continue in 2021, yes or no. Okay, the great moment has arrived. We are not 100 yet, but we have 100 faces poster, which got stuck in the screen. And the tonight's celebration, actually, usually we are finished with the talk at the moment, but since it is our last episode of 2020, we are going to have a little bit of a party. So everybody is free to come and go as you wish. We have a lineup of an awesome artists who have been our guests. I'm going to right now share it with you, and you're going to be surprised and happy because some of your favorite artists are going to perform for us, and we are going to start with our heart and soul, one and only Özkan Zere. We know him through our awesome community, Love Mafia, with his great talks, with his leadership program, and with Vulnerable Talk, being the host of so many of you alongside with me. He has helped me so much to create this space, and we've been together in sad days, rainy days, dark days, and pushed each other to collect the names, collect the photos, collect the descriptions, make it 140 words. Özkan, please start.
I just going to start because some of the Love Mafia people know that I love this song and I have shared this on many occasions, but those were the times when we were together and I was on the mic late at night. But I'm gonna just quickly, I just turned off my lighting because I have to slow down and I had to get into the mood. I'm gonna just take 2 minutes of yours. A lovely song. I'm not a musician, I'm not a singer. Please forgive me in advance, but I'm gonna kick. Let's go. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where 2 worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. Beautiful lines from Rumi. I hope that we are going to be awake and continue to be awake. I love you guys. Thank you for being with us. It was like a hell of a marathon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Sheri.
you so much.